A few months ago, I treated my girlfriend to a vacation in Paris. We stayed at some hotel called Hotel Atmospheres. My job allows me to work remotely from my laptop on my own hours, so at some points during our couple days there, I would sit in a lounge of the hotel by the Wi-Fi area to get my work done. My phone started to ring. It was my girlfriend calling me as I picked up the phone. I went to the nearby room where the coffee was and poured myself a cup. My girlfriend was calling me from the room, talking about the things we should do that day when I walked back to the lounge area where I left my laptop. I got a sickly feeling when I realized it wasn't there anymore. I went first thing to the lady at the front desk to ask her if she'd seen anyone leave the lounge area with a laptop. She apologized and said she hadn't seen anyone. I asked her to check the cameras, to which she responded with there not being any cameras in the lounge area and that she was also non-controlled. The footage that the cameras caught, she would have to get in contact with her manager, who was not working that day. She offered I submit a lost or stolen property for him. I was absolutely disgusted with the service and planned on having a word with the manager. The next day, I had no choice but to go back to our room and angrily events of my girlfriend. She tried calming me down, saying there was nothing we could do about it and that it was best we just go out and enjoy the vacation. I was paying for as angry as was. I had to accept that she had a point. We both turned off notifications on our phones so we wouldn't be distracted, something we usually did on vacation. Then we went out and explored a great amount of the city, did a little bar hopping, then got back to our hotel late at night. It wasn't until finally crashed into bed that I opened my phone to check for new emails and texts and such, since I couldn't do that on my lap. Now, when I was going through my email, I realized every single email I'd received that day was opened. This included emails from work and a couple relatives. I started to panic as I knew how much delicate information I had. It not just my email account, but my whole computer, which was signed in when I left it. I basically had all my personal information saved on that computer, including home address, phone numbers, personal pictures, passwords, credit card info, bank account info. I was a fool for leaving it unattended to for even a minute. I immediately changed all the passwords to my emails and other important accounts that didn't matter for what was about to come. Though after opening my messages app to check my texts, since I hadn't been all day, I noticed text from an unknown number. It was a bunch of pictures that were saved on my computer. Dad, personal pictures that I wouldn't ever want anyone to see. Then there were pictures I didn't remember taking, pictures of a hotel hallway and a hotel door. It was our hotel door. There was also a picture of me standing at the front desk talking to the lady about my missing laptop. It was taken from behind the glass door at the entrance of the hotel. Under all the pictures was a text saying, "I have all of your info, including your address and your current hotel room." This was sent using an untraceable phone number. "Don't bother contacting the police." The rest of the message basically demanded I pay a certain amount of Bitcoin to a specific Bitcoin wallet address, or else, it literally said, or else I'm not even fabricating this. I didn't know what else to do besides show my girlfriend the messages as well as the embarrassing pictures. She started to panic more than me, and she honestly just made me even more tense. I left the room to go to the bathroom to think he was asking for $1,000 worth of Bitcoin. But even if I paid that, I had no reassurance that this person wouldn't share those pictures or keep my laptop or to God knows whatever. Or else, meant I decided I wouldn't pay the ransom. My girlfriend agreed with my decision when I went back to bed. Of course, I was not tired at all anymore. Neither was my girlfriend. We sat up leaning on the headboard of the bed, talking, thinking, and worrying for a couple hours. Then there was a knock at the window of our hotel room. We both gasped. Well, my girlfriend more so let out a short scream. I turned off the lamp so that whoever was out there couldn't see in. I also shut the shade completely. I didn't bother trying to look out there to see who it was. I assured my girlfriend we were safe though. She whispered, "We should call the cops or inform the front desk." I told her we would if the problem persisted, and then told her to go to sleep. Meanwhile, I stood in the middle of the room watching over her, while also looking back at the window. I got a text. I looked at my phone, and it said, "I'm looking into your room right now. I'm not playing games." Then there was another knock at the window. I decided to just grow a pair for a couple seconds and open the shade to see who was out there. I pulled the shade open. I couldn't see who it was, but there was someone standing on the other side of the glass, looking in. My girlfriend screamed. I told her. As I pulled it back shut. We packed our things and went to the front desk. Hit me up on her sister's phone when she realized that whoever had her phone was reading her messages, but not responding. I practically reprimanded her for not having a password on her phone. I suggested using Find My iPhone, didn't even have that enabled for whatever reason. I met up with her and decided to text her number. I sent a text saying, "Please return my friend's lost phone," within seconds. It said the person read my text, but they didn't respond. So a minute later I sent a more aggressive follow-up text. I said, "Whether you're reading our messages, if you don't respond, we will brick the phone, track it, and it will be useless to you. Please return it now." The person read it right away and said, "Good luck." This infuriated me. I tried to respond, but apparently the person turned off the phone. There wasn't any we could do now. She had Find My iPhone off, so we couldn't even report it as lost. I tried to make her feel better and took her out for dinner. When we got back to her house, a light upstairs was on, and the garage door was open. "Are your parents home?" I asked her. Maybe she said, but they weren't supposed to be back from their trip until the next day. We went in through the garage door and she pressed the button to close it, and we went from the den to the living room, and she called out for her parents. One of the doors upstairs shut. We could see and hear it. The way her house is arranged allows you to see some of the doors upstairs from the living room. The door wasn't shut forcefully though. Who shut quietly and softly. Ashley looked at me, and I could see fear in her expression. I told her, "Wait there. I'd go upstairs and check." So I went slowly up the stairs, down the little walkway, got to the door, looked down at Ashley one more time, then opened it. The room was dark now. I looked for the light switch in the room, but couldn't find it. So I said to Ashley, "Where's the light switch?" And she screamed. "Oh my God," she said that she had her address and the coach of the garage saved on her phone. It took a second to put together what she was implying when just then someone grabbed my arm from inside the room and tried pulling me, and I screamed and tugged away from the grip. I started to slam the door over and over on the arm that was pulling at me, eventually getting them to let go. I heard grunting on the other side. I must have done some damage. I told Ashley to run as I came down the stairs. The front door was only a few feet away, so we got out safely. He got into my car and I called the cops right away. We sat in front of the house in my car the whole time. making sure whether to know he left the house or not. Light upstairs turned on in 5 seconds later. Whoever it was walked to the window and just stood there for a while. Couldn't tell what he was looking at, nor could we see any facial features, but I did snap at least 10 pictures to show the police when they were to arrive. Then the guy just walked away from the window and the light shut off. Minutes later, and a loud, crowded bar, I asked the bartender to please call my number if my phone would turn up. Sadly, I knew that was wishful thinking. We traced back to the restaurant to check the table. We sat it and I asked the staff if they had any missing phones. So it was safe to assume my phone was taken by someone at this point. But I still remained hopeful that maybe the bar or restaurant would call me the next day. That night when I got home, I started cleaning myself up, getting ready for bed. For some reason, it took me that long to remember I could just use that in a Find My iPhone feature. I would have to sign into iCloud on my computer to use it. But when I was all signed in, everything, that little map came up on the screen. I was confused when the phone was showing up as right above my house. For a second I felt excited, like maybe I had the phone on me. The whole time I checked the pockets of the jeans I was wearing, but it wasn't there. I had no other pockets, and I knew it wasn't. I had my phone with me at some point in the restaurant. So how could it be at my house? Maybe someone left it at my front door, so I went outside and checked the stoop and the mailbox. It wasn't there either. Either way, it was insanely late and I was exhausted as long as it said my phone was currently at my house. I figured I'd find it in the morning and figure out what happened. So after coming back inside the house, I did one last loop around the house, turning off all the lights and going upstairs. I sleep with the door open because I live alone. At some point before finally climbing into bed, I heard a rattle from downstairs. It sounded like the pots and pans rack being banged into. I tiptoed downstairs. I saw that there was a light on down there somewhere. The light was leaking ever so slightly into the living room. I got to the kitchen and no one was in there, but for half a second I could see the light for my sunroom on. It turned off just as soon as I noticed it. I walked through the kitchen to the glass door that led to the adjacent sunroom. I would have to walk inside of there to turn the light on, and there was no way I was about to do that. So I just went as close to the door as possible and looked inside. I came close to screaming out loud when I could make out 2 figures standing in the darkness that was my sunroom. They were both standing nearly identically the same way, arms and legs kind of spaced out from their bodies to give an overall wider appearance to their stature. It seemed as though they have their backs to me, as I couldn't see their faces, only blackness, which I assumed was their hair. I ran to grab the kitchen phone to call 911. I reported a break-in, so the operator said there would be police arriving shortly. Would sneak up to the house, find point of entry for the intruders, and I'd pretend them. The operator said the police would call me if they needed to and ask me to hide in a closet and wait there until I heard the police downstairs. And she told me to hang up and stay as quiet as possible. Waiting in that closet felt like it was taking centuries, mostly because of the tension of waiting in silence and motionlessness, expecting and dreading hearing any kind of noise, and actually I did. I heard loud clunking footsteps coming from downstairs. They were coming up the stairs. They got louder and closer. Pretty soon they were near to the outside of the bedroom. But I never heard the matter of the bedroom. I heard doors opening. Doors to every room upstairs, so finally the door to the bedroom. I was opened. I'd balled up as little as possible in the corner of the closet, tucked under a blanket. To hide myself. The closet door opened. I felt my heart in my throat at this point. I did my best not to move, even though I felt my life flashing before my eyes. The door to the closet shut and I heard footsteps leaving the room. Then I heard 2 pairs of footsteps go downstairs. I felt it was finally safe to move and breathe after a few minutes of silence. The next sounds I heard were the voices of police officers yelling downstairs. I jumped off in the closet and rushed down to them. They entered through the sunroom. Actually, apparently the same way the intruders did. There were a total of 4 police officers in my house. Intruders seemed to be gone, which was no surprise. One of the officers said, usually the intruders would be out of the house before the cops arrived. So one of them had a notepad in hand and was taking down notes for my description of the whole night. They even took down the specific details of my phone and reported it as a lost item to somehow help with the case. After that, the cops left but assured me there would be a car patrolling the area all night. The next day I found my phone left on the kitchen counter. I figured they must have left it to avoid being tracked any further, because it was useless to them. My 2 friends joked around that the 2 intruders were simply trying to return my phone and that I should find them and thank them. Nothing has happened since, but it's hardly been a month. So I'm still kind of uneasy about sleeping in this house.